Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to Driver Side Chats. My name is Philip. I hope you're having a great day. And today I want to talk to you about something extremely important. I know I said that I was going to talk about baby steps 5 and 6, but this, I think, it needs to be a precursor to it. Baby steps 5 and 6 are about paying off your house early and then saving up for your kids' college funds. But I really have been thinking about it. I need to touch on this subject first, and it's important. But as a precursor to the precursor, I want to say this. Don't ever be undermined by your age, okay? Just because you're young does not mean that you can't be financially aware. One thing that's kind of gotten under my skin a little bit is my wife and I have been somewhat looking for a home, and one of the things that was just mentioned in just in a regular comment or in regular conversation, it wasn't meant personally, but it was meant, it came across wrong. The way it almost came across as if you don't know how to handle your money, and you're probably going to have to do the longest term because you probably don't have enough money to be able to do anything better than that. So here's a quick rule of thumb. If you're going to buy a house, generally it's good to put at least 20% down so you can avoid PMI. And then because of your interest charges, you're better off trying to go on a 15 or 20 year, better to do a 15-year mortgage. That way, on a fixed rate, by the way, that way you can pay off the house sooner. Plus, you won't pay as much in interest over the entire term. So in general conversation, it almost sounded to me, and again, the realtor didn't mean it personally, and I don't think they meant to say it the way they did, but basically came along the lines of, yeah, because you're probably not putting much money down, and you're probably going to have to do a 30-year term. And not to sound cocky about it, but it wasn't like it was a $300,000 house either. I mean, this is mid-hundreds kind of house. It's not like it was a super duper expensive house. And I'm a Dave Ramsey guy. That doesn't mean necessarily much, but I'm smart enough to know I need to probably have some equity in this when I'm getting into it. But long story short, don't ever be undermined by your age. Don't let somebody make you think that because you're young, you don't know what you're doing financially. Look, if you're doing this on the right track, you'll be fine, okay? Just know your stuff, research, do everything you got to do, and get yourself that knowledge that you need in order to go into these big things. In saying that, life insurance. Life insurance is huge. Okay, that's going to come before paying off the house early and before funding your kids' college. That's why I want to discuss it. All right, you need life insurance no matter what, especially if you're out on your own, if you live on your own, or if you're married especially and have kids. Life insurance is huge, super important. Why is it important? Because if you die, you need to have some sort of money come in to be able to help cover your costs, cover funeral costs, cover, living costs for however long. You need that extra cash there so that your family can be protected and secure still, and not have to worry about the harsh realities of living on a single income if that's becoming a new reality all of a sudden. So here's what I recommend. Here's what Dave recommends. Go for a 30-year term, or if you can get it longer, I'd say go longer with it, depending on what your cost is going to be. I get so frustrated and annoyed by all these people who think they know what they're saying about getting a whole life policy or something along those lines, simply for the fact that after the general term, it still has cash value. Look, don't fall for that baloney. Okay, you don't need a cash value system into this, okay? Here's why. Your term is going to be a cheaper cost, for one. So that means you're going to be saving money. Now, if you're smart enough with that money, you can go around, you can turn and invest that money, and by the time that term is over, you'll have more money than what that cash value is supposed to represent. Statistically, you don't need that. You can save the money, and that can help you in your steps to building wealth. That's one of the reasons. Number two, it's general knowledge that anybody selling life insurance is going to make more money selling, whole life or universal life or something along those lines. Now, I have nothing wrong with people making money, okay? As an insurance salesperson, look, they got to put food on the table too, okay? So I'm not saying they can't make money, but if they make a lot more money selling universal or whole, chances are you're probably spending more than what needs to be spent. You follow my logic here? Again, I have nothing wrong with anybody making money, because that's kind of how you have to live. So I'm not putting that down, but think about the logic there, that if they're making more money, then you're probably going to end up spending more money than what you needed to. And besides, that cash value policy, where do you think that money's going? Where do you think that cash value comes from? It comes from the extra money that they can invest, just like what you can do. And you can do it, and you can have a better rate of return and get to keep it all, essentially. I mean, you might have broker fees and such, but generally those aren't huge fees, just depending on what you're doing and how much you're spending. Now, as far as getting your life insurance policy package, here's why you want to go term. Another reason, okay? Currently, I've got a 30-year term. I'm not going to disclose the numbers or how much I pay or anything like that, but here's my thought, okay? So my goal is to retire at age 50, and I'm 23 now. So I've got 27 years until I'd like to retire. Now, in 30 years, I'll be 53. So I'm thinking along the lines of, well, if I'm preparing to retire at 50, then hopefully my kids will already be through college, and my college, their college costs will be paid for. I'm hoping in 30 years I'll have a paid for house. So the big expenses that I'd have to pay at that age, other than any kind of medical expenses, are pretty much already taken care of. So I won't have a ton of responsibility financially at that age. Third, if that's the main reason you get insurance, is so that you can cover things like your kids' college and paying off your house and your funeral expenses. Dave recommends that when you're doing a term policy, you do it so that eventually, once that term runs out, you've already out-earned yourself to where you are it's no longer necessary for you to have life insurance. For example, if when I'm 53 and my insurance policy expires, and I mean, I'm just throwing out numbers, all right? I don't know anything at this point of what I could potentially be worth, but let's just say my net worth were, $2 million, and I've got $1.5 million in, investments and real estate, why would I need life insurance when I'm debt-free and have over $1 million in cash, like hard cash that I could sell all those stocks and get the money pretty much right away? At that point, there becomes no need to have that life insurance. So that's why Dave sticks with term, and that's why he highly, highly, highly recommends it. And that's why I would recommend it as well, because if you're smart, if we're doing the Dave Ramsey principles here, and if we're kind of thinking ahead here, we're not going to have any debt, the house will be paid for, the kids will be out of the house, and you'll be rich. So why would you need it? Why pay more to get that extra cash value that you don't even need to begin with? So does the logic make sense there? When you're not spending as much, you can use that extra money to boost your wealth, your income. So my personal opinion is this needs to be settled before we start thinking about paying off the home early or paying college for your kids and getting funds saved up for that. Just because you need to have a general awareness of the money aspect of it and why you need this protection, because it's going to be designed to cover those costs up until you don't need those costs to be covered anymore. So that'll really do it for my video today. That explains insurance and why it is so imperative. Now, I do promise this week we are going to cover baby steps 5 and 6, and those will hopefully be in tomorrow's video, but I really, really, really felt the urge. I needed to get this one out. So 2 points to get from the day. One was very briefly covered. Don't be afraid to be aware, and don't let anybody undermine your knowledge of finances simply because of your age. You can be very smart financially at an early age if you just do a little bit of studying, do a little bit of reading, do a little bit of research. Okay? So don't let anybody tell you wrong. Secondly, get term life insurance. Okay, this is the most important thing you can do at an early age. Plus, it'll be cheaper at an early age, by the way. So the sooner you get it, the better. And try to get that term extended out as long as possible. Well, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. As always, please do like and subscribe. We'll see you next video.